No, I can see Helena Kiprop, and you're right. Chariot. Well,
I said third at 15 kilometres. And that's 49.47.
49.18 they were at
right.
15k there, Stu. So they're on now, still on 2:18.5 pace, about 2:18.40 pace. Well under 2:20, unless the wheels come off through the second half from Tafa and these other women.
Well, Chariot
could be seeing another 2:20 performance here.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to Chariot, because all of a sudden she's not there in that group, and I wonder whether we'll get a shot of her, whether she's stopped or whether she's just dropped back. But we were talking about Rose Chariot, weren't we? And
well, here's back to that leading group. 6 men gathered around Haile Gebrselassie like a royal guard almost. They call him the Emperor. That's his nickname, and how appropriate it is that he's surrounded by this sextet, surely none of whom will go with him through the final stages of this race towards what will inevitably be a very, very quick time, if not a world record, an improvement of his own world record. Kimathi is still at the back of the group there, second to right of the picture in that familiar black, green and red strip of the Kenyan athletes. Indeed, he is running in a Kenyan national vest.
Kwamba is there as well. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, they both latched on, and they're running so much quicker than they've ever run before. I make that point again because when you talk about running quicker, you're talking about a minute or two, but these fellas are running 5, 6, 7 minutes faster than they've ever run before.
We know last year when Gebrselassie ran 2 hours 4 minutes 26 seconds for that world record, Albert Kirui was second in 2:06.51, but it was almost an afterthought, and Kipsang was third, 2:07.29, again almost forgotten in all the celebrations and excitement at the finish line as Gebrselassie crossed through the tape. And you do wonder whether it's going to be a similar result for Kimathi here.
Yeah, it would be rather good, wouldn't it? I mean, actually, Kwambai, who looked as though he was losing contact with that group, has just a little surge there to get back onto the tail of it. He was almost in no man's land at one stage, but his determined effort has seen him right on the back of that protected group, with Haile Gebrselassie in that bright yellow vest in the centre of the group. The hold of the world best time, attempting to achieve it. There's 19 kilometres just being passed for you, 55.50-ish for 19 kilometres.
Well, if you say 55.50 at 19 kilometres, Stuart, add 3 minutes, you get 58.50, take off 10 seconds, 58.40, and then you go to your charts for 20 kilometres. 58.40 is 2 hours 3 minutes 47 seconds, so he is operating at something like 40 to 45 seconds quicker now, and that is in terms of a steady schedule than his race last year. But don't let's forget that last year he went out significantly slower than a steady tempo. He went out with a much slower first half than his second half. So Gebrselassie yet again here, and this will become evident, I suspect, in a couple of minutes' time when he goes through 20 kilometres, moving much quicker than 12 months ago, which is not what he wanted.
I just wonder what thoughts are going through his mind at this point. Concentration, yes. Feeling comfortable, yes. Looking very, very relaxed and easy, if it's possible to say that when you're running at around about 13 miles an hour. Which it really is an astonishing pace, this, to be running inside or there around 2 hours 4 minutes. His world record set here last year, just to remind you of that.
Well, he's got to keep telling himself to stay relaxed here, Haile. I think that's the critical thing. He'll be, I hope, not thinking at all about the cramps that he experienced in one of his calves just a couple of weeks ago. Now, F5 and dropping off the back here, that is Rose Chariot. You were asking Stuart where she'd got to. Well, now we have an indication that the Kenyan is, what, about 70 or 80 metres down on that lead group, I suppose, as we get this acceleration, Tour de France style. And what a great shot it is from this bike camera as he comes through to the leading duo of women. That is Tafa, of course, and Kiprop, Helena Kiprop, leading now this women's field with about 10 or 12 men around them.
You know, looking at Kiprop, 2 consecutive second-place finishes in Amsterdam and Rotterdam in 2006 and 2007, so she's pretty experienced. Decided to compete in first World Marathon Major in Berlin last year, and really, when you think about that, she was 7th last year, 2:26.27, so she's determined to run a little bit quicker as we go back to the elite men, and the two athletes desperately trying to stay in contention. But 20 kilometres.
Yes, the 20-kilometre mark then in 58.49 unofficially, and that compares with 58. Yeah, he's way inside there. In fact, I'm just checking, 58.11 I had for his time last year at 20 kilometres. That can't be right.
Well, in Dubai, 58.10. So once again, he's almost repeating what he did in Dubai earlier on this year. So it's very, very interesting, this. He will have learned a lot from how he felt at the end of that Dubai race, and I guess, knowing the pace now, he will be preparing himself mentally and physically for what's to come in the latter part of this race, when he has to go alone, because he will have to go alone. There's no question about that at all, because pacemakers are pacemakers, and they're not there to go all the way through. There you've got 58.50 as the pacemaker taking us through on there, so the 10 seconds. So if you were projecting forward, it's 2:4.19 would be the projected time, which would be well inside the world record or world best performance for a marathon. But of course, as Tim was saying, the race is run in so many different ways, and of course we're judging it on the basis of even pace, and it doesn't work like that sometimes.
No, it doesn't. But the problem is, Stuart,